Good morning, everyone. It's 9:12 a.m. It is May 14th, Tuesday morning. I hope everyone's having a good day. Hope you had your coffee, if that's your thing. I started off with coffee, now I'm drinking tea, But sometimes during I guess, the hot season, which is getting very hot, I stop drinking coffee and then resume the whole coffee ritual in the autumn time. But anyway, some people have to have their coffee no matter what time of the year it is. So anyway, I'm trying to just kind of kick back and relax today. I am working on more content. And, when I wake up in the morning, I kind of lay in bed sometimes and just kind of let thoughts run through my mind, which I do get. I did have some celebrity messages that I will be talking about later in this video. But most of it, I was just kind of reviewing what was going on over the last few weeks and the way that I've been feeling about this issue and how, of course, it's been very draining for me. And I did make a video, the last video I made, I was kind of, letting people know about my boundaries and the boundaries that, everyone, this is one of the reasons why people talk about human rights or civil rights or whatever. And I've never thought of myself as somebody who was like a leader of any of those sort of things. But when it comes to somebody attacking my personal space, whether they were aware of the violation or not, it is very painful and very harmful, okay, to an individual to have to go through this. And I know that a lot of people were influenced to go along with this, and I've done so many videos about, questioning authority, thinking for yourself. And also, when you think about it, like when you were in school, I'm sure everyone used to wonder, like, why in the world are we reading about things in history, right? Now, we know that a lot of things that we learn in the education system has been very skewed. Somehow, a lot of it's been bent and leaned towards certain groups of people. Whatever, you know what I mean? When they talk about the word history, it's broken down to his story. Basically, somebody telling the story from their point of view. Okay, but whatever the case is, we wonder, like, okay, why is it that we're learning about these things? Why is it that we're learning about how, nations went to war or, certain attacks on certain people? And they talk about, some of the tactics that were acted out on certain people who were like, targets of either genocidal attacks or whatever. So we learn about these things and we ask our teacher, like, why is it that we're learning this? You're sitting here bored in class thinking, why is it we're learning this? We're learning these sort of things, whether they're basically true or not. At least you can look at it like this way. It gives you an idea of what happens okay, when people disagree and what causes the disagreements. And unfortunately, a lot of these disagreements don't get settled in the best way. Okay, but it should have been alarms off in people's mind that somebody would be attacking an individual. Okay, now I understand that, given the fact that I was in a certain community where, I guess racial tensions were pretty high, even though it was in the 2000s, okay? But still, you know what I mean? You would think that people on the outside would know better, but this sort of toxicity spreads. It's just very bad, okay? But anyway, yeah, so I obviously have been a victim of a hate crime. And like I said, whether people realize it or not, or people who initiate these sort of things realize it or not, this is what it is by the guidelines of the law, okay? So, and of course, it has its consequences on people. You know what I mean? Some of the people who got involved in this face negative consequences. And then obviously, the person who's affected the most is, of course, the target, okay? The target who was not even aware of all the, Prince Alamehu drama and all this other stuff until just recently. Okay, so I've been, obviously dealing with negative people or negative situations for a very long time, wondering what the heck is going on. And so when you have been like the focus of attention for a very long time, and that attention is usually negative, right? You're going to develop all kinds of social anxiety. Okay, so I'm not I'm not comfortable, dealing with social situations anymore. This is one of the reasons why I am basically disabled. I cannot go to a regular 9 to 5 job. Okay. And, because I dealt with online targeting as well, with the social media and stuff like that. And then getting, job ads from people and lures and crazy stuff like that. This creates a lot of anxiety as well. Okay. So my, my feeling about people, of course, I have to say, is rather negative, but that doesn't mean that I have hatred towards people. It's just that, I understand that we live in a very corrupt society, and it's like morally depraved beyond like you could even imagine, and I understood that, things like crime existed and that people do bad things or whatever, but I had no idea like to what extent and what degree people were that morally depraved, so anyway, yeah, I'm blown away by it. Okay. And like I said, I deal with the negative consequences of what, was this whole initiated plan, which the foundations of it was a racially charged hate crime. Okay. When we think about, the origins of, me coming back, like my father didn't really understand that that, these ideas, these impulsive ideas that come into their mind, right? Like, oh, let's clone like Prince Alamehu, that which would have been my grandfather, right? In this weird flipped over whatever. That was an emotional decision, okay? And of course, he's collaborating with people who's going to get the job done. Did he understand that this person was who he was? The association, possibly not. You know what I mean? But sometimes we make decisions based on our emotions. Okay, we all should know now that that's not always a good idea. And I remember reading about old superstitions, death superstitions. Okay, because I'm kind of one of those people. I find the transition from life to death quite interesting. And I remember there was like, the belief of when, a person passes away, that people, although they're mourning, is to not beg for them to come back. You know what I mean? Because they have that journey that they're supposed to make. And in this case, where, the issue of cloning, what a spirit needs is just a vessel. You know what I mean? A vessel and some sort of lore to come back. And obviously, I wanted to be with my father. One more time. I guess it's just the bond of love. You know what I mean? That a lot of people don't understand. You know what I mean? And I believe that maybe I had a love that was so great that nothing will ever compare to that. You know what I mean? I have high standards on the kind of people and the kind of respect that I show to people, and I expect the same in return in a world that's just completely, devoid of any sense of sentimentality, any sort of, connection. You know what I mean? But anyway, I came back, and had to deal with, the negative repercussions of an emotional decision. You know what I mean? I am shocked, you know what I mean? And I'm very grateful for my psychic abilities to figure and crack the code, because what I needed to do more than anything was to figure out what the hell was going on. You know what I mean? I understood that I was being racially targeted, after leaving the farmer's place, but I had no idea how deep this was, how deep it was, and coming to that realization, it's very shocking. Like I said, I only thought that this was on the family level, like maybe my siblings were like poking at me, or some kind of childhood stuff, but I didn't know that it was just like this big. Okay. And of course, that becomes a major shock to me, because I'm somebody who lives in a very basic reality for myself. Okay, literally, when I used to go to work, it was go to work, come home, hit the 99-cent store on the weekend. I love my little rituals. Oh my goodness, I'm going to tell you, I'm missing the 99-cent store. I can't even tell you how much. But still, my life is always basic. I never thought that I was like the center of attention. on that level, to where important people knew me or anything like that. So that kind of blew me away, and it made me nervous. It made me extremely nervous because, I understand that I am kind of a deviant from the people who observe me, meaning like I live a life that's completely different than what they've ever known possible, whatever, or think, or what they perceive as normal or whatever. But I grew up. I am a product of my experience. Okay, my experience with dealing with negative people. My experience with dealing with, a family that was basically just there for their part of the process. You know what I mean? Which, when you deal with people who have no emotional connection to you, they don't care about what happens to you. Okay, they really don't give a fuck. So I am basically um, put in a situation where I am literally all by myself in this world. Okay, now mind you, like I said, I do have an adult son, and I'm very grateful for him. But every parent wants their child to flourish and fulfill their desires and their dreams, right? So in this world, it's a solitary world, right? And I would never ask that of anybody. So I have to survive on my own. And we already know that people do not always have the best intentions for you. Okay? I don't want to go into the matchmaking love issue, okay? Because we all know that was a failure and a flop. But not everybody has good intentions. Okay, and in a world where we, like I said, that's that goddamn monetary system. That monetary system will make people use you like a fucking dog. And I'm going to tell you right now, I am not going to let somebody do that to me. Okay, I'm not. I have to stand up for that, and that's what I'm standing up for. I'm standing up for living a life where I don't have to be abused anymore. Okay, because I've dealt with it for a very, very long time, and it was very puzzling to me. When I left the farmer's place, because I'm so psychic and intuitive, and not only that, like, it's more than just the five senses. It's almost like in my mind, I felt like there was this knot in my brain. Like, this is, I'm so confused. I don't know where this is coming from. Why is everybody so like evil towards me? What is going on? You know what I mean? I had to unravel everything, and I was very fortunate to have the vision of Prince Alamehu last fall, because that was like the root of it. Thank you. I could not tell you that night when I found out. I was so grateful. I could not tell you how long I spent in just prayer and being very, very grateful, because I needed to know that. I needed to know exactly what in the world, what the hell. You know what I mean? Because I can understand, like, me being a black woman in a predominantly white, in what do you call it, a white community. I can totally understand that. I'm not condoning the behavior by any means, okay? But that does make me stand out, okay? But it was almost like standing out to the point where it was making me very ill, going into these job interviews and the repetitive, phone calls and blah, 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 blah. Okay, all of that was just like entirely too much, entirely too much. So here I am today. I will say that it has changed me a lot in the fact that I have become disabled. I have social anxiety, answering things like my email, getting online, and checking my social media accounts. It's terrifying for me. It's terrifying for me because the only thing I can do is associate the people who got involved with something negative. I mean, you got to understand it from my point of view. Okay, everything that I experienced was negative throughout this entire thing. Okay, so I don't want to have to deal with the 9 to 5 anymore. And in my last video, I did ask certain people that I addressed in the celebrity readings, hey, I understand that this was your creation. Could you please speed things up? Because I can't continue doing this. You know what I mean? I have the right to have a life. I have the right to move on. I have the right to exist. You know what I mean? And I understand that some people, they wanted to shape and mold me. They wanted to shape and mold me. No, there is no defect in who I am. There's nothing wrong with me. I am who I am. Okay? I am who I am meant to be. And this is all I'm talking about. People have to be who they are. And this is who I am. And, you know, it gets very tiring when people, perhaps maybe they had good intentions, but from basically from what I experienced, I don't believe that was the case. I believe it was from the originator who started this entire thing, or it was influenced by the originator, meaning Joseph Mengele. That sort of attitude, that sort of, you know, and I do understand it was a social experiment, okay, which was based on the foundation, of course, of the Joseph Mengele. Therefore, I don't want anyone observing me in that manner anymore. I am not a specimen to be observed under a microscope anymore at this point. Okay, we all know that this whole experiment, by by any sort of international law, okay, is a violation of my rights. Okay, it's shocking. It's shocking. Okay, I am content with who I am, and I think this is what some of these people were very upset about, because this was the root of the issue. A lot of times when people, white people, racist white people, I want to make sure, because I really don't, and I know that people have in the past have told me that every single last white person is a racist, blah 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 blah. You can't trust any of them. I don't want to paint that, even though I have seen something, you know, this experience kind of shows me a little bit of what they're talking about. I can't ignore that, okay? But I do know that white supremacy has been enacted out on me, basically trying to limit my rights to be who I am. Okay, this is my basic civil right. Now I will tell you, there are certain laws on the books that, for example, indecency. Indecency is like, I'm exposing, you know, like more than cleavage, if you know what I'm talking about. Like you're walking around naked or something. Yeah, of course, okay. But I have the right to purchase clothes. I have the right to wear clothes. I have the right to wear lipstick, eyeliner, makeup. You know, if these things were against the law, they wouldn't be sold in stores. Okay? You are basically trying to say that, you know, back in the days where Jim Crow was like flourishing, they would limit certain things for black people. Like, for example, I believe certain soft drinks. I think Coke was supposed to be for white people and Pepsi was supposed to be for black people. You know, I think that's what they did in the South, okay? This is something that is shocking to experience in this day and age. You know what I mean? And we do have rights, whether you understand that or not. And this is not me making an argument. It's this that, you know what, I was willing to leave this community, but unfortunately, like I said, I was shocked that that, which kind of confirmed, you know, what people told me about a lot of white people, that this was going on in such a broad way. And not only was this Nazi experiment influencing white people, they used people as puppets. You know, they used people like people I used to know, because I knew of a bunch of people who came from different backgrounds. You know what I mean? It just got ugly, okay? It's just absolutely disgusting what happened to me, okay? And so, of course, you know, I'm going to be very leery and careful about who I encounter, what I have to deal with, okay? And I'm just being very upfront and honest about it, okay? So, yeah. So anyway, what else do I want to cover before I go into these celebrity readings? The issue of Patreon, and I don't want to continue like talking about this so much, but the issue of it is it does frustrate me, because this is one of the examples of, you know, the ignoring my rights, as a person who has a right to make a living. You know what I mean? And when this is what one of the tragic things about being a target, being blacklisted, of course, is really against the law. Okay, and it is against the law. And the main reason why, because no one has the right to prevent a person from making a living. Okay, and if they do that, then that is basically a form of genocide. Okay, I was not only blacklisted from employers, they were messing with me on social media, meaning, oh, well, we're going to stomp you out even there too. That is genocide. Okay, I have the right to make a living. Okay. And, you know, I know they do that because they want to box you in, meaning like, you know, make you step into their projects, make you do the things that they want to do. I didn't want to be manipulated. See, I understood what was going on in the 9 to 5. I understood when I say the 9 to 5, like, you know, the jobs, you know, Indeed.com, working for an employer, blah, blah, blah. Okay. I knew that that sort of stuff was going on. And I said, you know, I can't deal with that, but I have to make a living. And I understand that these people who are involved in my targeting come from, you know, wealth, and they're in positions of power, and they have their little family traditions, like, you know, marriage and merging of finances and stuff like that. And this is, of course, really the definition of marriage, right? Well, I'm a special case, okay? I can't let people sit here and abuse me. So then here comes Libra 14, the epitome, okay, of everything I don't want in a person. Okay, great voice, great singing voice, you know what I mean? And I would even go so far to say even stage persona, you know, how he used to perform on stage or whatever. But the dude's an asshole. All right. And also falls into, you know, the sort of jealousy that I experience around certain people. Okay. And this is where the abuse comes in. All right. And this happens to not just me, but it happens to a lot of women. For example, they might be either getting divorced, their husbands do this sort of stuff to them. Whatever the case is, this is beyond shocking, and it should not be normalized. Okay. And when it comes to my issue on Patreon, you know, it's frustrating because this is the reason why I stepped into it. The reason why I decided to do my own thing, and because I didn't want to be a part of that network. That network caused all kinds of problems for me. Okay, the arranging of, I believe Libra 14 may have arranged my last job, and the problem with it is that, you know, when you form professional networks, okay, when you perform professional networks, this is how it should work, okay. It should be a network that wants to be a group of the best professional people, okay, and each professional person wants to be a support system for each person, okay. So the person that you're referring within that group, you should think highly of. You should respect their skills. You should respect their behavior in the workplace, all the way, whatever. You would believe in their ability to accomplish those jobs, okay? And that network should support you in ways where you do not find yourself in positions of unemployment. Okay, meaning that if whatever reason, your professional network should be a support system that is continually putting you into different situations that are for your benefit and that match your professional needs, requirements, ideals, even your values. Okay, it needs to understand all of those sort of things. And unfortunately, I was trafficked, meaning I was in a network that wouldn't let me go. Even though I kept saying, you know, this whole issue is scaring me. Could you please leave me alone? I need to move on. I made so many videos about moving on. Moving on. I need to move on. But they held on. They held on, and they got me to the point of where I am now. Okay? And so, like I said, you know, last fall, I finally said, you know, I'm pulling my stuff together, and I'm going to create the Swan Song Manifesto. Okay? Which is an expression of my life experiences, blah, 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 blah. And believe me, I want to add more. There's so many things I want to do on this Swan Song Manifesto, and it means a lot to me. Okay, and so I deal with this mob of people who are extremely jealous of me. Okay, which I address these people in my last video, and feel as though it's some form of competition, and then they want to have business partnerships and blah, 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 blah. This is not, I made it very clear, this is not what it's about. And by me saying this is about me, it is in no way trying to disrespect anyone. It's the fact that I have the right to do my own thing. Okay, I have the right to do my own thing, make my own money, support myself, and I have the right to not work or collaborate with people, okay? Which bothered me because of this form of manipulation is what it was basically boils down to, okay? This is my life. Okay, whether you understand it or not, and you probably don't, and that's completely fine. But I have the right to do that. I have the right to have different religious views, spiritual views, all the way down the line. That is my right as an American person. And what else did I want to say before I go into these things? I'm not somebody who likes to stir the racial pot, but I will say that if somebody tries to back me into a corner with bullying, I'm going to always stand up for myself. And in this case, I believe that Libra 14 was one of those bullies. Okay? And he did a lot of foolish things that he truly regretted. Okay? But this is the sort of mentality that people like him have. And it's sad because, you know, this is one of the reasons why some people need to understand things about people that they idolize. Now, mind you, I cannot say that I idolize this particular person, like idolize them in a way where like I had pictures of this person, but I did have the respect for his writing abilities or what I thought he wrote. I don't know if he wrote every single song. I don't know that, okay? And I don't know if, I do know that he sang, and I thought his music was beautiful, okay? I thought it was beautiful. But just because a person can sing beauty does not mean that they have the same essence of that beauty within themselves. And this is what a lot of people get confused. They start thinking that their music, that person is their music. This is not the case. And I think if if this situation would have happened to me as a teenager, it probably would have affected me emotionally, okay? I'm an adult now, so I have seen so many people and been disgusted by so many people. I'm not even really that fazed by it, but I am fazed by the fact that this man would be bold enough to fuck with my shit. That, just like, that, I cannot get over that, okay? Now, I understand it's some people may have thought it was okay to matchmake me with this person. Okay, I'm not necessarily blaming the matchmaker, okay? But I am going to blame the mentality of Libra 14, that he took upon himself to feel that he had the right to enact some form of racism out on me, okay? No, you don't. Whether or telling me what I'm supposed to wear, how I'm supposed to live, blah, 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 blah. No. Okay. And that's the very thing I don't want. And plus he had certain, when I'm tapping in psychically, as I tapped in psychically a little bit, like, I don't know, a few weeks ago, about his personal life, I had mentioned before, I don't want that sort of lifestyle. Okay, so like I said, we can look at it as a human trafficking issue, okay, and we can look at it as a sex trafficking issue, and this is what it is. Okay, I'm not comfortable with that. Okay, I'm not comfortable with people, you know, settling into things that should be private. My relationship with Patreon should be private. It's supposed to be. Okay? And the very fact that people use their power to override those sort of things, that makes me feel extremely violated, especially after everything that I've experienced. Okay, so let me think. Is there something else I want to address before I move into this? Yeah, I am saying that I want peace. Like, I want peace in my life. And like I said, there's certain individuals where, you know, it's highly unlikely that I would invite these people over to just like chill out or whatever. But I'm saying is people can be the kind of friend to where we are not obstructing each other and we are not damaging each other. And that's what I'm talking about. Okay, now I had addressed these particular individuals in my last video, and I did make the request, look, I know that you guys did some entanglements and you did some sort of things that has inconvenienced me and basically put me in a situation where I am in a state of utter frustration almost on a daily basis. And it's very demoralizing, and most of all, it should have never happened in the first place, okay? What else do I want to say? I think that's it. So let's get into the celebrity readings. Okay, the first one I have is for You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pause this and get back to it. Ha ha, psych. I'm going to ramble on for just a few more minutes. Sorry, before I go into the celebrity readings. Um, I wanted to say that, you know, I I know that a lot of people that I used to know watch my videos, and I did, express the fact that, I feel rather disturbed a little bit by my past association with these people, mainly because of what I perceive to be a very tragic experience. Some of these people were, uh, you know, people who I, spent time with or called on the phone, ate lunch with, socialized with or whatever. And it's shocking to me, like when you look back on these people and you're like, oh my God, like I can't believe that you would do that to another human being. I'm sorry, but I'm being honest about this feeling, and it has a lot to do with mind control. It has a lot to do with people's perception, and however, no matter how I look at it, I'm uncomfortable with the whole thing. Okay. But if you guys, I do understand that you are supportive of me at this point, and I would appreciate it if you would assist in this cleanup of what's going on with my social media accounts, as well as, I don't ever want to go back to the 9 to 5, but the point is I want my name cleared in every goddamn continent, every fucking country, every fucking state, every fucking rock that you can unturn. I'm tired of dealing with this shit. I cannot take it anymore. And it's a situation that I should have never been involved in. Um, yeah, I am of a different race. Yes, I do have special abilities, and they are my abilities. They were given to me by the Creator. Okay, and I have the right to choose how I use those abilities. And I feel as though I have only done good things with it. I've always tried to protect myself and people that I cared about. And so, and I've never wanted to harm anybody, and I feel completely like abused by the entire thing. So please, one more time, unravel. If you are somebody who said a bunch of shit, collaborated with other people to create entanglements for me, I want you to erase everything that you've done and clean it up. What else do I want to say? Okay, now, now we're ready for the celebrity reading. Okay, so this is for Cancer 7, and I do want to continue talking to you because I think you're really cool, and I've always thought this. Okay, I've always respected you. I get the feeling that you feel as though there are a lot of people who are amazed at me, and there seems to be like a little bit of, well, I guess there's like little cults that kind of like, that kind of revere me, I guess, which I feel odd about this whole thing. You know what I mean? It's very odd for me to know, because I did communicate with you briefly for a while, and then I just kind of shut down and whatever, and don't take it personally. I can't help that. It's just, it becomes too overwhelming, mainly because, and I think, how can I say this? Like when you are psychic and you start suspecting things, and then like interacting with certain people just confirms certain things that I'm kind of suspecting along the way. And then when you start merging your psychic world with your actual physical world, it starts to like trip you out a little bit. Okay, so yeah, I do get the feeling that also, that what you're saying, what you're communicating with me, that there's a lot of people who kind of like worship me, not worship me like, worship me, but you know what I mean, like, kind of think very highly of me, I guess. I'm appreciative of that. I am. Unfortunately, I'm a little bit afraid to interact with people, really. And you also feel as though because of me being a genius, that I find people worthless. I get this from a lot of people, and I think I mentioned this in a few of my other readings that I've done for other celebrities. It's not that at all, and especially I would never think you could never, in my eyes, be considered worthless. You are someone that I respect highly. And when I think of you, or when I see you, I am always lightened up. I have always been that way. Okay. And before people start talking and running their mouth and talking about matchmaking and making all kinds of stories about bullshit that was not meant to be bullshit in the fucking first place, there's certain kinds of admiration that you have for certain individuals. Okay. And, obviously you have a very long history and you show certain sides of yourself that can be funny and you're witty and you light up the room, and you always have. Okay. I've always admired that. And to me, you've always been cool as hell. Right. So no, it's not. I don't think that people like you especially are feeling like I want to just blow you off or anything like that. I don't. I'm dealing with the fact that I'm merging my psychic realities are becoming a part of my physical realities. Meaning, like, I had visions of certain people, and then when I end up interacting with them, it's just like, oh shit, this is like too much for me. So then you just kind of like, okay, you know what I mean? It's kind of heavy on a person. But anyway, also, yeah, I understand that my videos are actually exposed to a lot of people, and that I am searchable on the website. And I've at one time I did search myself, not because I was trying to look for my YouTube channel, but people say, look up yourself on Google, right? So I said, okay, I'm bored, and when I get bored, Maria's going to do stupid stuff. So I ended up writing my name into Google, and my YouTube channel popped up. Okay, so it's not that, but I do suspect that my numbers do get skewed on YouTube. When you're dealing with people in positions of power, they have the ability to, mingle with other people and talk and whatever. And their main goal is to demoralize me as much as they possibly can. Okay, so if they feel or send messages to me, well, people really don't want to hear you, blah, 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 blah. They feel like, okay, I'm going to walk away from YouTube and blah, 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 blah. Okay, that's not the case. I have to be able to exist. Okay, by shutting me out, by putting me in like little bubbles and stuff like that, it's a form of human trafficking. Why? Because I am not able to leave, or I'm not able to express and communicate on an open web, whatever, as I should. You know what I mean? It's like there should be more, well, I'm not going to go into what kind of laws there should be introduced to prevent these sort of things, because I try not to get into politics. It's funny because, like, all my life people have like associated me with politics or wanted to hear my political view on whatever, you know what I mean? And I've always stepped away from it. I've always stepped away from, like, I don't get involved in politics at all. Okay. Since this issue has happened to me, no, I do not ever want to be like a political leader or anything like that. But it has really made me look at things like I had no idea that we were in this sort of state of debauchery. Like I had no idea that this is how bad it is. And it's fucking bad. You know what I mean? And it just blows my mind, because, it's funny. I do understand certain things about, laws and, the Constitution and amendments and so on. So, and I spent my entire life dotting my I's and crossing my T's, feeling as though understanding these things were important. You know what I mean? And then when you start realizing that no one else seems to give a shit, or they don't fucking know it at all, it blows you away. It really does. But anyway, yeah, I certainly don't think of you as worthless. I think you are someone that will always be very special to me, and I love your flexibility. I can't tell you how much I love that, and that's a very special trait to have. Okay, so the second reading that I got, messages that I got, was from my community of Bakersfield. Hang on a second. I am getting thirsty. I'm always running my mouth. Oh my God. Okay, so my community, Bakersfield. Okay. The Bakersfield feels as though I placed a lot of fear in them. Like they're basically saying, like, don't mess with Maria, that I kill people. People think that I kill people. I will tell you, when I pray for something, okay, I ask for divine protection. Okay, and when I ask for divine protection, I'm going to protect myself in any way, and I'm going to be talking about protection, how we can protect ourselves, on my Patreon channel. Okay, but I was under extreme, not only, I'm going to call it psychic attack. Okay, psychic attack occurs when a collective group of people are fixated on you. All right. A small example of this sort of fixation would be when I was a kid. Me and a group of my quote unquote friends would be in the playground, right, talking about somebody. Hey, we want to get this person's attention. We would stare at that person for a very long period of time, and then eventually they'll turn around. Okay, why? Because they kind of sense that. Even people who don't have psychic abilities, like I talked about dormant psychic abilities, there are certain ways that you can direct energy towards a person where they're like, hey, wait a second, I feel like I'm being watched, right? I'm gonna turn around, okay? Same thing. I was experiencing extreme targeting, especially after leaving the farmer's place, okay? And that was in a very intense time. I could feel hatred from people, okay? People I didn't even fucking know, all right? So I know that when I left the farmer's place, okay, this is like, I don't even know if it's really relevant for me to bring this up, but I remember burning 3 novena candles, okay, that are not supposed to break in the glass, okay. 2 of those candles broke, okay. That's how intense the hatred was, okay, and I was aware of it. So there are certain things that happen to people, and do I think that they should have never stepped in my spider web? It's as simple as that. Because I'm a very peaceful person. I can get along with everyone, and I try to understand every situation and things from their point of view. This is important to me because I believe that true diplomacy can only be derived from that. I believe in fairness. I do. And this is one of the reasons why people are amazed with my abilities to think. They think, well, because you think this way, you surely must be involved in politics. It's hard for me, okay, because I'm a world observer. I watch people's behavior, and I've been doing that since I was a child. You know what I mean? I also came to another revelation, which I will talk about a little bit later. But anyway, I will tell you, Bakersfield, the community of Bakersfield, I come in peace. I don't want to cause any problems. I came here in this community because the rent was cheap. Okay, I mean, I'm a survivalist, okay? I have always been that way. Can you tell, right? I came into this community because of the cheap rent. That's it. That's it. And I also felt as though I had professional qualities. You know what I mean? Why shouldn't I? I mean, I had spent 4 years, close to 4 years at my last employer. I was gaining, based on, how employment is supposed to work, you start building up your skills, building up your experience, okay? And most companies, or companies, I should say, but professionals would advise you, at least stay on the job for at least 2 years. I was very grateful to have built up a history. Okay, so I decided to move here and get another job and then work my way up and then, pay my way through school, blah, 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 whatever. The whole shebang, whatever. That course didn't work out because I was being trafficked. Okay, and this is the tragedy of that. I was not in any way trying to threaten the white race. I was just basically someone trying to survive. Okay, that's it. So no, I am a very peaceful person. I don't wish anybody any harm, and you guys can relax. I'm trying to figure out what the hell I'm going to be doing. And this is one of the reasons why I started making those videos, because I'm very frustrated at this point, because I want to move on with my life. Okay. And I'm not interested in harming anyone. Also, there's a lot of people in Bakersfield who do support me, and thank you. I appreciate it. They believe that my online strategy to make income is legitimate, and they agree that it's a good method. And, I don't know too much about, things that relate to being online. Okay. I realize how old school I am, and this is kind of my quirkiness. Okay. My quirkiness is an asset. It's a point of intrigue. I have to say it is. Okay. But the pressure to make me conform into something when this is not the story. The story is the quirky person who lives alone, who has to make survival decisions, who basically just has to do what she has to do to live. You know what I mean? And Also, I'm kind of like the equivalent of a modern day gypsy in a way, because I will have to go, I would be willing to travel to do that. You know what I mean? And a lot of people, their first instinct is to, well, okay, I can't find a job, I can't do this. I guess I'm just going to give up and whatever. I never expect anyone to take care of me, and I'm a person who cannot trust people to take care of me, because as we can see, Libra 14 was in a position, or he felt as though he had a right to be in the position, which he did not, to come in my life and start fucking shit up. Okay, I need to be careful, and I don't believe anybody is going to uh, cater to my needs. I don't expect anybody to cater to my needs. I'm responsible for myself, and this is something that I've always known. And it's not me, trying to be like, oh, I'm a woman's lib person. I'm standing up for women's rights, or this has nothing to do with racial rights either. It's like a no-brainer. I have to make income. I have to live. We live in a monetary system. Okay. Believe me, if it was my world, we would have fruit and vegetables growing up everywhere where we could just live off the land. That would be ideal for me. Okay. Unfortunately, that is not how things work. Okay. Now, yes, and I am aware that I do have more subscribers on YouTube and than that I'm actually able to see. Okay, this is a form of bullying, whether people realize it or not. Trying to demoralize me, and not only is it a form of bullying, it's a form of coercion, because it's a part of an ultimate plan to direct me into something, which I believe they wanted me to be a singer. Okay, as much as I love singing, I would not want to do it as a career. Okay, I don't see myself as that sort of material, even though other people do. Okay, my passion has always been the occult. It is not in any way me trying to buck the system, come up against the system, disrespect people who have a relationship with Jesus Christ. It is not me trying to promote a specific religion. If people listen to what I'm saying, I talk about things from different backgrounds. Okay, because I see the value in it. Okay, I personally believe that this whole thing, the reason why this is my view, okay? This is not what I'm teaching as a doctrine, but this is how I feel inside, okay? That I believe that all these people are on this one planet, which everybody seems to be fucking miserable and totally unhappy, but somehow we're all different, but we're all stuck on one big planet. Okay, and we're trying to figure out how we're supposed to survive, what is important in life, what are we supposed to set our sights on, does life have meaning, blah, 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 blah. And I think that each person has a piece of the puzzle to tell. You know what I mean? Maybe they don't have the ultimate truth, okay, but they have some sort of idea of it. Okay, like I mentioned, I have always admired Indian people, their methods of meditation and how they connect to their deities, right? And I've always thought that was like, probably because maybe something from the Indian background might be a little bit similar from what I understood from what happened in Ethiopia. Possibly. This is one of the reasons why I might have been attracted to them. You know what I mean? Because it's carried over to my current life, you know? I Anyway, going back to the whole YouTube thing, I'm aware that I've dealt with bullying, and I've been dealing with bullying for a very, very long time, and I feel as though the manipulation on social media and like I've made so many different like YouTube channels in the last few years trying to break free of being in the social media box, meaning like I feel as though I deserve to see numbers. I deserve to other people to have my name, understand who I am, because this is what I'm into. You know what I mean? And mostly I was somebody who wanted to be more associated with the I guess maybe like the free thought type movements, people who kind of have an outside spirituality. Okay, because in my beginning, my first channel, Dark Desert Moon, many years ago, this is exactly what it was. And I remember exchanging and talking to people and communicating and whatever, okay? And this is before the big campaign to wipe Maria off the face of the earth, okay? And this is the sort of people that I was, I was hoping that the Swan Song Manifesto would be like tuning into. I had no idea, like I said, that, these people who I addressed in my past video were interested in something like that. Okay, but they have this vision of what my Swan Song Manifesto should be, and that's not, their vision would not coincide with my vision. This is who I am. I'm not ashamed of who I am. Okay, I'm just basically somebody who wants to help people with some of the methods that I have used and give people some sort of hope to live for. Okay, I really do think that people, if people started looking at things differently, maybe life would not be so humdrum to them, because it is extremely humdrum. Okay, and this is how we create our own form of beauty and our own level of contentment. So anyway, also going back to Bakersfield, because we're on the same reading, okay, because I got a lot of messages from Bakersfield. Okay, they acknowledge that I will have the opportunity to date many different people. And I think this is one of the things that people get confused about me, and me taking care of myself and me showing myself self-love. And that's exactly what it is. It has nothing to do with me wanting to get involved in a romantic relationship. Mind you, I have been targeted. And like, what I mean by targeted is I was associated with certain people who were trying to manipulate me in being a part of whatever. So Libra 14, for example, okay? I don't want to have to deal with people who want to suck me dry, okay? I have dealt with abuse my entire life, okay? I can't just sit here and like start dating people willy-nilly. I have to be careful about who I meet and who I bring into my life, okay? But what bothered me is that, I do believe in self-love. Okay, I believe very much in it, because like I said, look what happened. Okay, in this world, we can't even count on people of our own blood relations to stand up for us and protect us from things. And you'd be surprised how many times people would be convinced to go along with something like that, whether they knew the origins of this or not. Okay, to me, love would be to protect that person and say, hey, this is what's going on. Okay, but they have this oath that should never take place. I will tell you right now, do not ever think that your family, that an oath with anyone other than your family should ever come first. Okay, if you are somebody who is trying to build up your family, people need to understand that gang stalking can destroy people. Okay. The betrayals that you deal with is just very painful. Okay. But by me wearing nice clothes, this is my passion. It's a part of my passion, it's a part of my expression. And it has nothing to do with me trying to get male attention. It's my little bit of form of love of life. Because I'll tell you, I don't get very much enjoyment out of life. The least I can do is have my fucking nice clothes and care for myself the best way I possibly can. Now, I don't tell other people to do the same thing, but if that's their desire, then you know what? You should. Because if you're somebody who's always looking at somebody else thinking, well, so-and-so, they're doing this and this, deep down inside, this must be something that you want to do. Okay? If that's something that you want to do, then do it. Okay? If you're one of those women who don't like wearing makeup, then don't wear makeup. Okay, in my case, I'm the kind of person, like, I don't like tattoos. Okay, I think some tattoo designs are really cool, but I would not want anything permanently on my skin. Okay? There are some women who may not wear makeup, but they do support women who do. Why? Because they understand that that's their choice. All right? In my case, I don't ever want a tattoo on my body, but I fully support people who do, because it's something in them that wants to do that. It's free will, and I would never obstruct somebody from doing something like that. Thirsty again, hang on. So, when you're dealing with people who lack empathy, such as, unfortunately, and when I'm talking about these people, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. Not everybody has empathy. Not everybody does. Okay, some people are built to where they just want to carry out orders, or they feel like they want to, they forget, or maybe they're not even aware that each person wants to live their own life. I don't know what it is, okay, but they want to manipulate other people's lives, okay? And I could easily run into an abuser, okay? So I'm a woman to myself, meaning everything I do for my own self. I paint my own toenails for myself. I choose the colors that I like. When I wear, I'm going to be doing a video on, it's called Everyday Alchemy. I'll be talking about the use of makeup, the magical use of makeup. And I do want to say, you know, I don't think I wear a lot of makeup. And I have seen that some people are what I consider to be are like makeup artists. I have seen people be able to change the shape of their nose, be able to change, it makes it look like they can change the shape of their chin, everything. Okay, I don't do anything like that. But the shape of my face is exactly the same. Okay, I just like to match color. Like if I'm wearing blue, I'll put on like a little bit of blue eyeliner, a little bit of maybe blue eyeshadow every once in a while, but I blend it so where it just kind of melts into my skin and it doesn't look overbearing. Okay, but I've seen a lot of girls who wear, you know, what they call fake eyelashes and stuff like that. That's their thing, okay? But I had some lady at my workplace say she was wearing fake eyelashes, and she was basically saying, oh, well, you know, I like these fake eyelashes. That way I'm not wearing makeup. And I'm thinking, okay, I understood what she was trying to do. She was a part of the perp chain. The thing is about fake eyelashes, they are still in the cosmetic department. Okay, they're always going to be in it's still a form of cosmetic. Okay, are your eyelashes really that long? No. Okay, some people, I do understand that makeup can be what they call deceptive, to where I was talking about how it could change the shape of your nose and all that stuff. I don't have those kind of skills. Okay, I basically just add, you know, the eyeliner, and I love mascara. I fucking love that shit. And eyeshadow, and I do it mainly because I like coordinating clothes. I like coordinating my colors. And this is where this comes from. And also on my video that I'll be working on called Everyday Alchemy, what I'll be discussing is the use of clothes in magic and manifestations. And then also I'll talk about makeup, earrings, jewelry, things of that nature. Okay. And I do believe that expression is a part of your experience, your spirituality. It's when people hold themselves back, then this is what causes their unhappiness. When they hold themselves back and they feel like they're trapped and they feel like they're unhappy and they can't express themselves. And sometimes, you know, I was thinking about how many people struggle to accomplish their goals because they get sucked into the crab barrel all the time. This happens so many times. They try hard to improve their lives, and then they have to encounter maybe a so-called friend or even a family member who are trying to prevent them from going on their own individual spiritual journey. That's a problem. Okay, and those are the things that I'm talking about that are obstacles. They're obstacles. And sometimes when you deal with these sort of obstacles, you know, a basic conversation can end it. Like, especially if you're over the age of teen, you need to be able to assert yourself. You know what I mean? And say, hey, I need this for my own spiritual growth. Okay. If they don't understand and they take drastic measures about like trying to like make you a victim of human trafficking, while they're like literally abusing you, manipulating your employment, trying to make you bend to their will, you have rights to stand up. Okay. When people are prevented from expressing themselves, this is what causes crime. This is what causes all kinds of things. People are going to act out when they can't feel, when they feel like they're being, you know, restricted, especially when they have the right to express themselves. So if for women, like I said, you know, or men for that matter, you know, there's nothing wrong with saying, you know what, this blue clothing makes me feel good. Or it makes, when I look in the mirror, I'm happy or content with the way I feel about myself. Okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a completely respectable thing to do. All right. And I will not be made to feel ashamed for my ability to show myself love, especially in a world that has obviously demonstrated that they could give two shits about you. Okay. If you don't love yourself, then I will tell you it's going to be a very difficult journey. Um, Also, there has been discussions about me being able to wear makeup and clothes and whatever, okay, which I find offensive, okay. That the fact that I would even have to have a discussion about whether I can or cannot do something violates my civil rights, okay. And like I said, I've never wanted to get into politics. I never wanted to play any Martin Luther King games or anything like that. But when it hits home, when it gets to the point where they put me in a genocide program over things that I have every right to do, especially coming from Libra fucking 14, all I can say is hell no. You know what I mean? I have continued to wear whatever I felt like wearing um, whenever I wanted to. You know what I mean? I'm not going to let people bully me into some form of white supremacy, especially coming from Libra 14. Okay? And I hope that you guys understand that when you see this sort of stuff going on, I know the agencies about human trafficking are not as strong as they should be, but I do hope that maybe they will be, because there are a lot of women who are in abusive situations and they need to get the hell out of there. Okay, they don't need people fucking like getting involved in disputes about a woman's rights. When you see men, okay, bullying a woman like that, hopefully there's going to be some good citizens that will step in and intervene on that person's behalf. Because I will tell you, women who are abused, especially in this program, they have it so where you, like I said, you go to a homeless shelter, you go to a women's shelter, these people are just going to be programmed against that woman. Okay, women need protection. Okay, and this is a very serious issue, and this is one of the tactics that a lot of men use on their wives, on their girlfriends, and so it's terrible. Okay, yeah, I find it offensive that somebody would even have that discussion. But if you do choose to self-improve yourself, do understand that you're going to deal with opposition, but it's a defining moment as to who really supports you in your life and who doesn't. We're in this life journey to evolve, okay? Meaning, like, if you feel as though you have discomfort in your level of existence because you feel like you're not being fulfilled, and you feel as though a change, a new haircut, dyeing your hair, changing the style, whatever, is going to shift that cycle or get you closer to your sense of well-being, you have the right to do that. Okay, but you do understand you're going to deal with petty people who are struggling with the same issues of self-hatred. It runs rampant. So they're going to try to drag you back into the crab barrel. Okay, you have to be strong enough to stand up for yourself. Okay, and then you need to decide whether or not what kind of people you need to be around. It really is that simple. But it's not simple. It's simple when you think about it, but it's difficult when you put it into action, especially when you're dealing with a lot of bullies. Okay, so what's important is you need to know your rights. You need to know your rights, and you need to know and make boundaries, set boundaries and standards for your kind of friends. Okay, because I'll tell you what, if your friend has a dream or they have a certain standard of living, and your friend is working against that, they ain't your friend. Okay, so the next message I got is, I think some people were kind of freaked out about me leaving paradise for a second chance on Earth. Yeah, I fucking think, my God, what the hell happened? Especially for the short period of time that I spent time with my father. My father was not around long enough in my life. You know what I mean? I would say that my father basically died even before he died. When his mental condition was so bad, by the time he was in the nursing home, that he was, unrecognizable. You know what I mean? His whole demeanor had changed. And it's just very heartbreaking to understand and unravel this story. And still to this very day, I feel as though I'm experiencing cruelty by these people. And this is one of the reasons why I just got to the point where I started making these videos. Because even though they may not be the same exact people who hurt my father, okay, They are influenced by the same experiment, by the same whatever. And to have me deal with any level of cruelty, 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 I had to say it 3 times, okay? Because I need you to understand that that's exactly what it is, okay? And I'm sitting here on my bed, not making money because of their cruelty. But I will assure you that I'm trying to make the best out of my existence. And of course, my existence would be obviously a very spiritual one. There's a lot of people in the community that want to be my friend. And, you know, like I said, I'm in the process of trying to figure out where the hell I'm trying to go. Okay. I did state my standards of friendship. You know, I will never obstruct anybody. I'm not trying to take out my frustration on the white race, which I'm sure many of people are sitting here suspecting that, okay? Maria is always focused ahead, okay? Maria is always focused on what is my next adventure, what else am I going to do, okay? I am not like, what do you call it, slowing down at this point, okay? Now, I wanted to touch this issue about being immortal. Okay, mind you, the last time I lived, I died at 95, suspecting suicide, okay? That does not necessarily mean that I'm immortal in this life, okay? I know, I forgot the name of the person, but there was somebody who suspected that they were immortal, and they started talking all this shit. The dude's dead, okay? Maybe I am somebody who is expected to live a long life, or whatever, and because of my genetics makes it so that I appear a little bit younger than what I am, okay? But I don't know if I'm immortal or not, okay? Time will tell. Time will tell. All right, so also the message I'm getting from Bakersfield is like they feel like, ouch, like people feel kind of guilty about what happened because what happened is kind of a reflection of, I'm sorry, I'm going to be honest, it's the truth, okay, that there was a lot of evil that was enacted on me. And, you know, like I said, it is what it is. You know what I mean? And I do understand there's some people who are very repentant, and because, you know, there's some people who lived in a reality their entire life. Okay, they always been told certain things about black people their entire life, but they never ever really knew any of them personally. Like they'd watch shitty TV shows, or they might see some comedy skit or whatever, and they immediately paint a picture of what a black person is supposed to be, okay? And when they see contrary to that, they want to fucking test it, or it kind of makes them confused. And the thing is that a lot of people don't realize that this bubble that they've been living in for a very long time doesn't hold any water, okay? It doesn't hold any water. And I you know, and I'm not trying to poke or create problems on it. Like I said, the only thing Maria really cares about is moving on. Okay. Yeah, and I did address the issue of the immortality. Like I said, I don't know. Because 95 years old to me is old. Okay. But I obviously must have felt at the time, if I did commit suicide, which I believe that I did, I must have felt as though, you know, life is just unbearable. Because I will tell you, it's unbearable knowing that people would chase you and try to control your life to the point of where they bring in, like, you know, honey pots, and you leave their little network, and then they come back and force you back into the network, or try to force you back. It's like the pain that this person must have felt, you know, and then to come back a second time around and have to deal with it again. This is where the instincts come in. This is one of the reasons why, before I even knew how deep this whole thing was, when I left the farmer's place, because it's been such a long period of time, it's like the accumulation of all kinds of hatred, hate crimes, bullshit, Nazi crap being directed towards me. The energy buildup was just absolutely like fucking wicked. That's all I can say. It was very wicked. It's one of the reasons why those candles broke. You know what I mean? Thank goodness that, you know, the universal forces has been very good to me, and has allowed me to be able to see and understand what happened and unravel the whole Prince Alamehu thing, to get down to the bottom of it. because it's not just a simple work family issue. It's something bigger than that. Okay. And when I found out the origins, the Nazi Association, you know, it blew my mind. It just blew my mind. Okay. It's deep, but I am not in any way trying to, you know, cause any problems with the white race or create any problems, so you guys can relax. Obviously, Maria's chilling in her bedroom on a Tuesday morning. Relax. Okay, so the next message that I have is for Virgo 31. You just keep coming up. You just keep coming up. Okay, so you're acknowledging the fact that, yes, the people that I addressed in my last video, they're kind of amazed by me. And, you know, I know that it's a very awkward situation, the relationship that I have with these people, because, you know, they've gotten involved in my my social life, not my social life, but my social media. Okay, and I already addressed it. This is not me trying to bring it up, but this is how I feel about the issue. Is I do feel uncomfortable with it because it's slowing me down. It's slowing me down. And to me, all I'm looking at it as a residual effect of the nightmare of my existence, meaning like it's always going to come back to the Nazi thing. It's always going to come back to the Nazi thing. It freaked me out to see that my black family have been like, and I'm not blaming these particular individuals, but because of the entire project and because of the entire program, experiment, or whatever, to see what it has done to the other races of people, how toxic, how sick, how I'm just going to go so far to say demonic it really was. Okay, it has literally like made so that I have lost my faith in mankind, period. Okay, so it has caused me to have, like, you know, emotional shutdowns, not being able to feel, you know, and feeling like sick to my stomach, that there were times where, you know, I would light candles on my altar to pray for these people's protection and safety when these people were, and I'm not referring to the 3 individuals that I spoke with in my last video. I'm referring to people that I used to know who on my everyday level, like people that I used to know when I was going to school, or people that I worked with or whatever. Like I always was concerned about their safety, their protection. I looked at them as my friend, right? And then when you look down on this issue that these people were only informants, it makes you sick to your stomach. It literally does. You know what I mean? So dealing with some forms of betrayal that had to take place in order for this Nazi experiment to work, it bothers me. Okay? This is one of the reasons why I'm asking, you know, in the last video about the 3 individuals to hurry it and speed it up, because I can't take looking at this shit anymore. Okay? Because this is the reason. This is like the whole foundation of it. This is the whole reason why. You know what I mean? But if you want to show your support, like I said, let's hurry up with all these issues as soon as I possibly can, because I really do want to move on. Okay? Now, when it comes to, you know, inviting people to the party, I call it the hypothetical party, because right now I'm trying to get all this stuff cleared out. Actually, no, I'm not. The people who did what they did needs to start working to get it cleaned up. Okay? I am, you know, I definitely do want to fulfill a lot of my dreams through the Swan Song Manifesto, trying to pick up from where I left off in my journeys, my life goals. Okay, and obviously, you know, there are certain celebrities that I definitely want on my show. I'm calling it my show. Why? Because I want to expand it a little bit. Like I talked about the food magic thing, bringing people on. I wouldn't mind like doing maybe a singing type thing with one of them. Mind you, I don't ever want to be in a singing career. I don't want to be known as a singer, but I'm just talking about providing different forms of entertainment. Okay, and it's really about me having my last say on life among the people that I have respected my entire life and who I've valued and cared about. All right, so it's important for me. All right, because just like the swan's final exit is because the swan has been quiet their entire life. Like, I'm sure people are surprised that I guess their political views, but the reason why Maria doesn't vote. Okay, like now Maria is starting to talk a little bit. Okay, and it's important for me to do so. Anyway, I'm glad, Virgo 31, that you find my videos fascinating. I've always been a fan of yours, and I've always had a lot of respect for you. Okay, mind you, I had no idea that you were watching my videos, but it's very cool that you are. Like I said, my content is supposed to be the majority of it is basically spiritual in nature. And you know, I realize that I am a spiritual person. Like, you notice that I don't really care about what goes on in the outside world. Okay? Because to me, I always associate the outside world with kind of like The Walking Dead. Like, the minute you walk out the door, you don't really know what kind of zombies you're going to deal with. This is not me trying to put people down, but I'm just talking about, like, I have dealt with so many people who smile in your face and then they've got some other agenda. You know what I mean? And, you know, people want to develop relationships. It's normal. It's a human need, okay? This is the part that makes it even like more hellish, okay? The fact that it's a human need to have social connection, but the people that you can give social connection to are narcissists, are abusers in some way, or don't have the same like goals or standards that you do when it comes to friendship. Like I said, I've defined my idea of friendship, right? Their friendship is to suck and drain you. You know what I mean? I want to use your resources, or I want to, or take over your resources, and which shows me, like, right off the bat, you could give two shits about my little Cabby doll, you know, and you don't care about my Hello Kitty collection, which is an offense altogether. Okay. So yeah, I'm trying to make good decisions for myself, and I'm very pleased that, you know, you are somebody who watches my videos. Like I said, I love your singing. Your voice has gotten me through a lot of hard times in the past. I appreciate it. Yes, I am still willing to be friends with white people. Like I said, people know my definition of friendship. Okay. And if people are willing to work within those guidelines, meaning have that sort of mutual respect, or be taught that mutual respect throughout the course of my quote-unquote friendship, and I don't mean that with any sarcasm. When I bring people into my life, I do so with all sincerity. You know, to me, to sit down and share a meal with a person or bring somebody into my home, I want to make them comfortable. You know, I am very old school when it comes to my expression. I have affection for people, and it's always genuine. I am not somebody who, I don't even like, it's too draining for me to say something that I don't mean. Okay, so I am a very sincere person. I do not hate all white people. This is a spiritual journey. It's making me understand the spiritual platform of it more, though. It really is. And I did deal with a lot of power-hungry white people, and this is the whole issue about the seeking power thing. It seems like seeking power control seems to be the root of all evil, alongside with money and everything else. Like the obsession of it, the need, the power, the greed. You know what I mean? Greed is something that leads people to their doom, and something that I believe I've been warned against on all spiritual teachings, is something that this is taught. You know, not to be worldly. You know what I mean? People can be worldly in a sense where they have their positions, they have these sort of things. But some people enjoy watching the suffering of others because it makes them feel good about themselves. They're not content knowing that, you know, they have enough food to eat, they have a roof over their heads, you know, they have comfortable furnishings, you know, they have everything that they need and want, and yet they want to put their nose in other people's business and compare, the comparison game. And then they not only want to compare, but they want to make sure that the people never ever get anything, because watching people suffer is something pleasurable to them. Okay. And it's this sort of power hungriness. You know, they want to take credit for everything. They want to make sure that you never get any sort of respect. They want to make sure that you never ever stand out, because they're always in some sort of cycle of self-hatred, you know. Also, the message I get from you is that people know that this issue has changed me, and it's changed me in ways that you can't even imagine. Like, I don't even think and associate things the same way I used to. Even your songs, okay? Like, your songs are beautiful, right? But the things that I used to sit here and imagine when I was listening to those songs when I was younger, the reality has completely shifted. That's not about you personally. It's just that, you know, music that I listen to is always interwoven with my life, or the what's going on in my current life, or my thoughts or my goals. Music to me is a backdrop of a lot of magical energy, whether that music sounds secular or not. You know, there are certain songs that fucking make me cry. You know, like there's certain songs, especially if it's got violin in it, and the way it sounds, the melody is just, it's too much, because through that, those tones, those sounds, it's basically crying for you. It's deep, okay? This whole issue, like, when I used to, back in the days when I used to listen to you a lot, I thought I had a family. I thought that Mary Gordon was my real mother. I thought that, you know, my siblings, even though I had a different view of life than they did not have a pathological hatred for me. So I had different views back then. Now I'm a changed woman. Now I realize, you know, this whole cloning issue is something indeed that exists. Now I understand that, you know, the majority of people are morally depraved. You know what I mean? They are. It's sad, but it's true. You know what I mean? And it's no longer me. It almost feels like it's no longer me looking for certain answers. I almost feel like I have a lot of the answers. You know what I mean? And I feel like I want to share what I've learned. So anyway, I think I am done with my my readings, and you know, I might be making videos throughout the day, mainly because I'm giving myself a break. I am working on all kinds of content, and I want to keep up motivation. So I am making this shout out to everyone who is involved, who had the ability to, you know, work their communication, and they're using their status to interfere with my life. Once again, you know, could you get this issue cleaned up as soon as possible? Okay, I am itching to move on. Also, I did get a part of the settlement, a settlement check yesterday from the estate, my mother's estate. So I don't know. I think the house is either sold or the bank owns it or something like that. So I know I was talking about me being in a period of transition, not knowing what I'm going to do, what's the next step or whatever. At this point, I don't think I'm going to be able to acquire my old home. Okay. So that's all I know right now. I'm basically just kind of twiddling my thumbs, trying to figure out what the hell am I doing now. You know what I mean? So those are the updates that I have for you guys. I want you guys to know that I appreciate your support, and you know, every single last person that I spoke to on my last celebrity readings, you know, that I wish you guys well. Take care. Bye bye.